Hi everyone, it's me, 𝒂𝒏𝒈. Today is Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. This video is dedicated to my beloved, and the topic of this video is going to be about forming a heart. And I'll explain more about what I mean by that further along in this video. But first, I thought I would share a little bit about how my day has been going so far. So it's almost 1 p.m. here in Arizona, where I am right now. And this morning I had an exam for my sociology class, and I did relatively well on the exam. And before that, I did my entire morning routine. I exercised, I ate breakfast, and I got ready. And there was also an extra credit assignment due today for my sociology class, so I did that as well. Although I'm pretty confident that I won't need the extra credit and that I'm going to get an A in the class anyway. I don't want to be overconfident, so I always just do the extra credit anyway in case I might need it later on. Anyway, that's been my day so far. It's just been kind of very busy in a way, just because I had an exam and I had to study for that exam a little bit in the last minute and then do that extra credit assignment. And this idea of being busy ties into what I wanted to talk about with you today, which is forming a heart. And there is a quote by the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard which I wanted to share with you today. And I wrote this quote down on a couple of pieces of paper. It's kind of long, so I couldn't fit it onto one piece of paper, but I wanted to show this quote to you and then read it aloud to you. So I'll show you both of the pages of the quote. So that is the quote there. I wrote it down in cursive and then added a little butterfly sticker at the end. Again, that's by Søren Kierkegaard. So I'll go ahead and read the quote aloud to you now. Here it goes. Being too busy has this result, that an individual very, very rarely is permitted to form a heart. On the other hand, the thinker, the poet, or the religious personality who actually has formed his heart will never be popular, not because he is difficult, but because it demands quiet and prolonged working with oneself and intimate knowledge of oneself, as well as a certain isolation. And that's by Søren Kierkegaard again. And this quote, when I first read it, really spoke to me because I have been the person who has been too busy to have time to think. In the past, I thought that that was the way to be. When I was in high school, I tried very hard to stay busy all the time and to be very extroverted and to have a lot of friends and be a part of a lot of things, like a lot of clubs and a lot of gatherings and get-togethers among my friends. I wanted to be a part of everything. I was on the tennis team. I was the captain of the tennis team for 2 years during high school. And I was on student government. I was the publicity and design commissioner for, I think, all 4 years of high school. I was in the academic decathlon. I took art classes. I took classes to play the flute and the piano. I did everything when I was in high school, and I had a lot of friends. I was pretty popular in my high school. In fact, believe it or not, I was prom queen during my senior year of high school. And I thought that I would carry this identity along with me when I went to college, when I went to Columbia University for undergrad at the age of 18. I wanted to be popular and I wanted everyone to know who I was, and I wanted to have a lot of friends and always have people inviting me places and wanting to hang out with me and reaching out to me and talking to me. But something changed during my first year at Columbia. I was not feeling like myself, and In fact, this change largely happened because I had gone from being a big fish in a small pond at the high school I went to, which was 𝒆𝒂𝒓𝒕 Academy in Anaheim, California, to being a small fish in a large pond, which was this huge Ivy League institution in New York City, in Manhattan, where I was basically a nobody compared to the person I had been when I was in high school. In high school, I was prom queen. When I came to Columbia, I was just another student among all of these people attending this Ivy League institution. And I learned that always being around people and always trying to be extroverted and trying to be a part of all of these gatherings and get-togethers where you don't even know if the people there really care about you or know you or want to know you, it wasn't very fulfilling to me. So during my first year at Columbia, I made this huge internal switch. I became extremely introverted, and introverted does not mean shy. Introverted means loving my own company and preferring to keep to myself and spend time with myself and get to know myself, as opposed to giving my time away to other people who I'm not even sure actually care about me. And as the years went on, from my first year at Columbia onward, I started to really discover who I am. And I started to form a heart, as Søren Kierkegaard writes in this quote. By forming a heart, what I mean is that I discovered my own personality. I discovered how I think, and I began to understand my purpose and explored the depths of my mind. And this was when I really started to become who I am right now, the person that's talking to you through this video. I was not like this in high school. There were times when I tried to be like this in high school, but I just was always too busy or too involved with other people to really have the mental quietude that was necessary for me to form a heart. And I remember that I still had those moments where I felt like nobody understood me, or that there was something more, something that I was missing and I needed more time to explore when I was in high school, such as when I read Walden by Henry David Thoreau during my junior year of high school. I just was so moved by that text, by those essays written by Henry David Thoreau, and nobody understood, nobody around me, none of my classmates understood how I felt when I read those essays. They just thought it was quite boring. Most people thought it was quite boring and were not mature enough to appreciate it. And that was when this longing started in me, and I didn't really get the chance to pursue it until I came to Columbia University and began to shift my extroversion toward introversion. Now, going back to this quote that I shared with you by Søren Kierkegaard, people who have taken the time to form a heart, like the thinker, the poet, or the religious personality, will never be popular, not because they are difficult, but because it demands quiet and prolonged working with oneself. So when I read that, I thought about myself, and I thought about how I went from being popular, being prom queen in high school during my senior year, to becoming someone that most people don't know. I kind of became a nobody, not in a negative way, but in a beautiful and solitary way. Like, solitude is beauty, in my opinion. It's a beautiful thing. And that was when I started, as I said, to develop an intimate knowledge of myself. And I felt like I was really becoming the person that I wanted to be and understanding what I love and who I am apart from everyone else. So by sharing all of that with you, I wanted to encourage you to seek solitude and try to find out who you are outside of your relationships with other people. I know that it is a habit for a lot of us to try to stay busy all the time, to try to distract ourselves from having to look inward, but it is very important because you will never discover who you really are as a unique individual, what's inside of your heart and inside of your mind, until you take the time and take the quietude to really examine those parts of yourself. And that's why solitude is very important. And going back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the video about how my morning has been and how I was busy from the moment I woke up until the moment I finished that exam. By being busy, I didn't have time to think for myself. I just had to focus on what I was going to do next. And only after I finished the exam and came back home and sat down and thought about this quote did I really have the time to feel like myself and feel like what's inside me and feel what's in my heart. So I wanted to encourage you to try to not be busy all the time. I know that a lot of our professions force us to be busy most of the time, and I'm speaking for myself as well because I want to be a doctor, and that is notably and notoriously one of the most demanding on one's time professions out there. Anyway, I hope that by watching my video today, you've learned something about what it means to form a heart and how you need solitude and time alone and free time in order to be able to form a heart. As always, thank you so much for watching my video today, and I'd like to wish you a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world.